So you're thinking about applying to AMD? Well, you've come to the right place.
That's right. AMD is really doing some impressive stuff these days. And getting a job there, that's no walk in the park. It's going to take some serious prep.
And that's what this deep dive is all about. We're checking out this YouTube video we found. It's from a channel called How to Become. They claim to have the inside scoop on how AMD interviews, how they choose who they hire.
Like their secret formula. I'm intrigued. Let's see if this is legit advice, something that'll actually give you an edge.
Exactly. Because, let's be real, anyone can memorize facts and figures about AMD.
Right, but showing them you get it, that you're a perfect fit, that's the difference maker.
Exactly. So this video kicks off with the classic interview question, tell me about yourself. Seems simple enough, right?
Yeah, almost too simple. You'd think you could just launch into your resume highlights.
Right. But this video, they actually suggest something different. They say you got to treat that job description like a treasure map, directly connecting your skills to what AMD needs. It's all about positioning yourself as the solution to their problem.
Instead of just a laundry list of every skill you've ever had.
Precisely. Like instead of saying, oh, I'm a people person, great at communication, you'd want to say something like, my communication skills helped me improve project transparency and efficiency at my last job, which I think aligns with AMD's fast-paced collaborative environment.
Boom. Now you're not just talking at them, you're speaking their language. You've shown them you've done your homework.
Right. And they even give a specific example in the video. The interviewee throws in words like problem solving and collaboration, which, let's be honest, are probably straight from a tech job description.
It's subtle, but it shows you get it. Like you're already thinking like an AMD employee.
Okay, so we've tackled the tell me about yourself icebreaker. But next up is a question that always feels a little trickier to me. Why AMD? It's so easy to fall into the trap of giving those generic, surface-level answers.
Like, oh, because you're a leader in the industry, you're doing amazing things. Yeah, anyone can say that.
Exactly. But this video, it actually digs a little deeper. They emphasize the importance of connecting your answer with AMD's core values.
Like what specifically resonates with you about their company culture?
Right. Think about things like AMD's commitment to innovation, sustainability, open source technology. Find that thing that genuinely excites you about AMD and articulate it.
Because that passion. Interviewers can spot that from a mile away.
It's the difference between seeming interested and truly being invested in their mission. And of course, the video provides a good example here too. They point out how the example answer uses phrases like pushing the boundaries and cutting-edge technology, which, if you think about it, aligns perfectly with AMD's brand image.
It's subtle, but it's clever. It shows you've done your research and you get what AMD is all about.
Now, those were just the warm-up rounds. Next up, we're diving into the real meat of the interview, the stuff that can really make or break your chances, behavioral questions.
Oh yeah, these can be tough if you're not prepared.
Right. And this video says that AMD loves to ask about how you've handled challenges in the past.
Makes sense, though. They want to see how you think on your feet.
Absolutely. And that's where this video throws you a lifeline. The STAR method. And no, we're not talking about astronomy here.
The STAR method. Tell me more.
So STAR stands for situation, task, action, result, and reflection.
Okay, so it's like a framework for answering those tell me about a time when questions. Instead of rambling, you give them a structured story.
Exactly. It's about giving your answer a clear beginning, middle, and end. So instead of panicking when they ask you about a time you faced a challenge, you've got this framework to fall back on. It's like they're giving you the cheat codes for your own memories.
Okay, I can see how that would be helpful, especially under pressure. So instead of drawing a blank, you've got this mental outline to guide your answer.
Precisely. And the video actually gives a really good example of the STAR method in action. They talk about a situation where a project fell behind schedule. So, how did the interviewee adapt? What did they specifically do to get things back on track?
Right, because anyone can say, oh, I handled it well. But this is about showing, not just telling.
Exactly. It's about painting a picture for the interviewer, letting them see your problem-solving skills in action.
And speaking of seeing things in action, this video goes on to list out a bunch of other questions AMD might hit you with. Some of these are pretty specific.
Ooh, like what? Spill the tea.
Well, of course, there's the standard tell me about your experience, which, that's a given. But then it gets into the nitty-gritty, like how would you go about validating data?
Ooh, getting technical.
Yeah, and it gets even more intense. One question is literally, explain how a CPU works. But like you're talking to your grandma.
So not just knowing the technical stuff, but being able to explain it clearly and simply.
Exactly. It's like they're testing your ability to communicate complex ideas, which, to be fair, is a pretty valuable skill in any tech job, especially at a company like AMD.
Absolutely. They're all about innovation, so it makes sense they'd want people who can explain those innovations to a wider audience.
It's not enough to just be a tech whiz. You got to be a tech translator, too.
I love that. Okay, so we've covered the behavioral stuff, the technical knowledge check. What else does this interview guide have up its sleeve?
Well, they also dig into some questions about your career goals, your professional development. One that stood out to me was, why do you want to leave your current job?
Ooh, that's always a tricky one. It's like they're trying to see if you'll badmouth your previous employer.
Exactly. It's a trap. But this video emphasizes the importance of staying positive, focusing on what you're looking for in your next role.
So instead of complaining about your current job, you want to say something like, I'm looking for opportunities to grow in a insert specific area that aligns with the AMD role, which I believe this position offers.
Exactly. It's about showing them you're strategic, that you have a clear vision for your career path.
And that AMD is a part of that vision. It's not just about getting any job, it's about finding the right fit.
Precisely. And of course, we can't forget those classic curveball questions that interviewers love to throw in. You know, the what's your greatest weakness or tell me about a time you failed questions.
Everyone dreads those.
Of course, but they're more common than you think. And this video does a good job of breaking down how to approach them.
So what's the secret? How do you answer those without completely freezing up?
Honesty is key, I think. Don't try to pretend you're perfect because no one is. Instead, choose a weakness that you've been actively working on and talk about the steps you're taking to improve.
So it's less about pretending to be superhuman and more about showing self-awareness and a willingness to grow.
Exactly, because let's be real, everyone makes mistakes. It's how you learn and grow from those mistakes that really matters.
It's about showing them you're not afraid of a challenge, that you're always striving to be better.
And that you're not going to crumble the first time you hit a roadblock, which, let's be honest, happens in every job.
It's about resilience. And speaking of resilience, this video also touches on the importance of interpersonal skills.
Oh, yeah, those are crucial, especially in a fast-paced environment like AMD.
Right. So they give a few examples of questions that dig into how you handle conflict, how you work with different personalities.
Like, tell me about a time you disagreed with your boss, or how do you deal with a difficult coworker? Those were always fun.
It's like they're trying to gauge your ability to navigate those tricky office dynamics.
Because, let's face it, no workplace is perfect. There are always going to be disagreements, personality clashes, but it's about how you handle those situations professionally and constructively.
So it's not just about technical skills. It's about being a team player, being able to communicate effectively.
Exactly. And showing AMD that you'd be a valuable asset to their team, someone who can collaborate and contribute to a positive work environment.
Because at the end of the day, they're not just hiring your skills, they're hiring you.
Your whole personality, your work ethic, your ability to be a part of something bigger than yourself.
Exactly. And that's where this video really shines, I think.
Yeah.
It emphasizes the importance of showcasing your authentic self throughout the entire interview process. It's about letting your personality shine through, not just giving them the robotic textbook answers.
Right. Be yourself, but like the best version of yourself. Now, there's one last question this video highlights that I found particularly interesting. They ask, out of all the questions we've discussed today, which one would you find toughest to answer?
Ooh, that's a good one. It's like they're turning the tables, making you think critically about your own preparedness.
It's like a self-awareness test disguised as an interview question. And honestly, I think it's a question everyone should ask themselves before any interview, not just for AMD.
It's so easy to get caught up in prepping for those standard questions that you forget to think about your own potential sticking points.
Exactly. And I bet their answer to that question would reveal a lot about their thought process, their level of introspection.
Absolutely. Like if someone stumbles over that question, it could be a red flag. It might suggest they haven't fully considered their strengths and weaknesses.
Or that they're not great at thinking on their feet, which is crucial in a fast-paced tech environment.
Okay, so we've covered a ton of ground here.
Yeah.
We've gone through the entire How to Become video, dissected their advice, and even added our own 2 cents. What are your final thoughts on this so-called insider guide to acing the AMD interview?
You know, I went into this a little skeptical, but I have to say, I'm impressed. They cover a wide range of potential questions. They emphasize the importance of preparation and tailoring your responses. It's not just generic interview advice, it's specifically geared towards AMD's values and what they're looking for in a candidate.
I totally agree. It's like having a cheat sheet for the AMD interview. But instead of giving you the answers, it gives you the tools to craft your own.
Precisely. They're not handing you a script, they're giving you the framework to build your own narrative.
Because ultimately, the best interview answers come from a place of authenticity.
Absolutely. It's about knowing your stuff, understanding the company, and being able to articulate your value in a way that feels genuine and compelling. No amount of memorization can replace that.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So, for all of you out there prepping for your dream job at AMD, take this advice to heart. Do your research, practice your answers, and most importantly, be yourself.
Your best self, that is. The self that's confident, prepared, and ready to wow those interviewers.
And hey, when you land that amazing opportunity at AMD, come back and tell us all about it. We want to hear your success stories.
We'll be here cheering you on every step of the way.
Until then, happy prepping, everyone.